So I was watching the World Cup with my dad, and we were eating these little Mexican snacks that are called chapulines. They're like grasshoppers, but they're crunchy, and they kind of taste like a tortilla chip. And I love them. And we were eating them while watching the World Cup, and Team USA was playing. And I got so excited when they scored their first goal. And I jumped up and down and hollered and made a ton of noise. And then my dad said something that really shocked me. He said, "I can't believe they finally scored." I was beginning to think we were going to have to resort to plan B. And I was like, "What do you mean? Okay?" And he just looked at me with a straight face and he said, "We were going to switch to the women's game if they didn't score soon." I was like, "You're kidding? You would have switched to the women's game?" And he said, "I'm not kidding." I was getting ready to switch. You know, they've got a lot of exciting players. You know, Alex Morgan, she's pretty exciting to watch. And plus, you know, they've got the hot goalkeeper. And I said, "Dad, that's not a thing." And he said, "Well, it is to me." And then I got really mad because, you know, the US men's team has never won the World Cup, and they only made it to the finals once. And I feel like my dad was being a little bit disrespectful to the US men's team by saying that. Okay? So I got really mad at him. But then my mom said, "Well, hey, maybe we should put Alex Morgan in goal, right?" And then my dad said, "Now you're just being ridiculous." And my mom said, "I'm just saying, you never know. Maybe she could give us a spark." And then my dad said, "I don't think she could. I mean, she's a forward. Forwards don't usually make good goalkeepers." And then my mom said, "Well, hey, you never know. Maybe she could be the hot goalkeeper." And then my dad just shook his head and he went back to watching the game. And I was kind of shocked by my dad's reaction, because usually when I say something that's obviously a joke, he doesn't get it. But this time, he actually did. And it was one of those moments where I realized that my dad is actually a really good father, because he was able to keep a straight face and not show any emotions whatsoever. Because if he had laughed, or if he had responded with a joke, then I would have known that he was disappointed in me for getting mad at him. But because he kept a straight face, I knew that he wasn't disappointed in me. This meant that I could continue to be mad at him without feeling guilty.